All right. I know what you're all thinking. You're all probably thinking like, where's Rawl? Did they like trade him in for like a younger, sexier? Some people might say it's the more handsome, younger, more sexy version. I wouldn't I personally did not, but I heard that from some people. But one thing that I really do like that Rawl does is that he always opens the show with some sort of quotation, so I'm going to follow suit with that. Now I'm quietly waiting for the catastrophe of my personality to seem beautiful again, and interesting, and modern. The country is gray and brown and white in trees and snows and skies of laughter, always diminishing, less funny, not just darker, not just gray. It may be the coldest day of the year. What does he think of that? I mean, what do I? And if I do, perhaps I am myself again. That's Frank O'Hara, and this is the Inspired Word Cafe. All right, so this is my first show, so please be gentle with me. I'm new up here, but our feature tonight, we got a really great show. You might recognize our feature from around town, from the slams that we've been doing. Poet, teacher, father. Let's have a warm welcome for Andrew Brown.
My first poem is called Infinite Potential. What I'm about to say to you is not unsolicited advice, but simply words of encouragement. Girls, you have the ability to change the world. Yeah, you, young women, little girls, mature ladies. You are our secret weapon, a source of infinite potential just waiting to be unleashed. So I say to you, fly like Superman, even when that invisible hand of patriarchy tries to act like kryptonite. Break out of the narrowly constructed boxes forced upon you by a society that underappreciates your value. Bend gender roles if you're so inclined. Those lines were defined in ancient times by narrow minds. Do not suppress the real you because of what you've been told, because of lies you've been sold, the outdated roles that are carefully constructed to keep you in a mold. Media, both mainstream and social, perpetuate the myth that you were only as good as your looks, that last selfie you took. You're not just your body. You are a sum of your parts, and your heart should be noticed first and foremost. And what is your heart? Other than the obvious, your heart is a collection of your lived experiences. It is who, what, and why you are. So my hope for you, no matter what you choose to do, is follow your dreams. It'll make you whole. Don't always do what you're told. Create your own role, set your own goals, nourish your soul, and surpass it with drive and pride. And if anyone tries or is so inclined to step in your way, channel Beyonce, or Ronda Rousey, or Yuri Kochiyama, or maybe your grandma. Always stay true to you. Captain your ship with confidence. Show humility and victory. Laugh in the face of adversity. Walk in hand with diversity. Be fun. Be nerdy. Be athletic. Be whatever you want. Just know that there are guys out there that want you to succeed. We've got your back. We will fight by your side on the front lines. We will listen. We will talk. We will educate. We are woke. We are accomplices. We are the Robin to your Batman. See, the time is gone when good men sat idle as injustice was perpetuated, because a good man will not sit idle. He will fight the system that was built for him to succeed. A good man will fight for all to be equal and free. And know that even though this equality will be hard to attain because it is maintained by patriarchy, misogyny, and washed brains, there is no choice but to stay the course and with forceful discourse, aid your campaign against injustice. Because truthfully, it's not just your campaign. It's our campaign, our battle, and our continuing legacy. This poem is called What If? There's a question for reflection that's been pressing on my mind like a weapon for intelligent reflection. You see, it can deaden deception and beckon change. It can help us make the world a better place. Ask yourself, what if? What if we don't believe what we see on TV? These channels and newscasters are paid to deceive by corporations and thieves with endless tricks up their sleeves. What if we could perceive the misconceptions they feed so we don't bleed for their greed? It's time to fight back against that capitalist disease. What if we opened our eyes to the media-supplied lies, paid for by governments and stuffy rich guys in their $1,000 ties with their fingers on a button and their drones in the sky taking countless innocent lives for that black oozing prize? What if we were aware of all the hollow eyes and blank stares, the black boots marching, cameras everywhere, they say freedom is slavery and war is peace? What if we don't believe that Orwellian doublethink and newspeak? What if we took to the streets and with the pounding of our feet pushed back the elite from their self-proclaimed thrones made of money and bones from our foreclosing homes and the overpriced loans? What if we as a nation, through true reconciliation and reparations, could inspire motivation to create community and foster true unity? What if we stopped letting cops kill with impunity? The system's not broken. It has always targeted minorities. So I implore you to see the hypocrisy of saying all lives matter to counteract that Black Lives banner. Stop with your ignorant banter. It's a hamper and a cancer. It's not an answer. I won't pander to your views, but I will educate the youth so we can rise up and destroy the system of white supremacy and privilege that we all live in. It's time to get livid and make a difference. The 99% need to get motivated. What if we admitted that our country is tripping and then we started to fix it in flip scripts? What if we could live life like it was poetry floating off pages, beautifully changing as words scattered like leaves on the wind, like a dance of fairies and nymphs, perfectly imperfect but impervious to hate and greed? It may seem like a pipe dream, but I believe we need to try because what we have is not okay. Our world today needs help, and it is our job to be agents of change and soldiers of love. What if is a courageous and brave question when used to better our world. So ask yourself, what if? And now try to make an answer. Thank you. This is called Mr. Brown's Teaching Manifesto. For 20 years of my life, I was a student, sitting behind desks in rows, making those fidgety movements. In my learning, I was never prudent. Mostly I was vacant. My body was in class, my mind was on vacation, dreaming of skating. Well, my teachers delivered monotonous oration. And then it was, Andrew, what? Write down this quotation and this information. Dude, for what? Regurgitation on a representation of standardization of which our schools have a preoccupation? See, I've never understood how an examination is any indication or even an approximation of intelligence. It's only the confirmation of the memorization of mostly useless information. There's no appreciation of learning, only evaluation, the causation of which can be the stagnation of creativity in our student population. My answer to this: extend an invitation for collaboration to the students in my class so we can cause a cessation of teacher-driven lessons. Because if I'm not mistaken, when you give a student voice and choice, authentic learning arises, accountability materializes. This galvanizes thinking, exercises curiosity, and fertilizes pride, which maximizes potential, and then boredom is minimized. See, I will not use bubble sheet assessment of multiple choice questions based on stand and deliver lessons that have these students stressing. My assessment will be fluid, always moving and changing, categories ranging, questioning, perseverance, collaborating, writing skills, reading comprehension, and synthesizing information. Laying the groundwork through co-creating learning criteria is liberating for all learners involved. My classroom evolves. Power devolves from me, the teacher, to the pupil. But I won't scruple over this. Yeah, it most definitely can be hit or miss. But the kicker is, we can't be afraid of failure. So we will tailor our lessons to our students' interests, and they will invest in their learning. And I'm always impressed with their unsurpassed progress in our whole class inquests in which they ingest differentiated content in a contest to reinvent their knowledge. We will build a bridge between our class and the real world, making learning relevant. Engagement will be prevalent, discussions intelligent, a testament to an excellent regimen of pertinent learning, which instills a burning desire for lifelong curiosity. I will not concern myself with worksheets, quizzes, and tests, but I will concern myself with what is best for the students in my classroom and my school. I will help teach them the tools they need to succeed, help them find their passion and drive, nurture their inquisitiveness and mine, because lifelong curiosity is beautiful, and we all deserve a beautiful mind. This one is new, and it's called Dear Hip Hop, a Love Letter. This morning, I was in a hip hop mood. I usually am, so I started banging some Wu. 36 Chambers is my go-to, classic. I was feeling the groove, getting lost in Jizz's beats, RZA's tunes, Raekwon cooking smooth, and when that played through, I switched on Nas, Illmatic, and then got lost in thought. I started reminiscing about the early days of my love for hip-hop. You know, hearing Biggie and Pac in my Discman as I walked, rhyming about Glocks and selling rocks on the block. Now, mind you, this was around 93, and I was living in Armstrong, BC, and I mean, dude, look at me. Their lives were nothing that I could relate to at all. So why did I love it? Why do I love it? Because from early on, I realized that MCs are artists, expressing their reality through rhythm and poetry. Their experiences, lyrically imparted to me over scratching samples and beats, allowed me to walk in someone else's shoes, to see life through a different point of view, not the privileged perspective I was used to. You see, through hip-hop, I learned of realities that I would never have to live. Police brutality, segregation, discrimination, systemic racism, life on the streets, hustling to make ends meet. At that time, I was not aware that the system I lived in was built on racism, creating a schism of which I was on one side and they were on the other. Their stories, lives, and powerful words made me want to learn. I needed to discern the reasons that so many humans were treated with such hate and disregard. So I started to read about racism and human rights abuses perpetuated by our neighbors to the south. Not long after that, I started to realize that my eyes need not wander below our border. These same stories were being played out in our own backyards. The more I read, listened, and watched, I learned that Canada's treatment of this land's indigenous people is fraught with disgrace, colonialism, and the belief in a superior race. The Indian Act, reservations, segregation, forced assimilation, residential schools. It was at this time I first realized Canada was not as cool as I thought it was, and nowhere near as inclusive as I was taught it was. Our racist history is not taught in schools, and the tools to combat racism are not formed in our Eurocentric school system. The very system that continually fails our at-risk citizens, the citizens that our government's laws and policies have targeted and oppressed for hundreds of years through practices and tactics of fear and seclusion. This knowledge, this immense knowledge, is where hip-hop indirectly directed me to. It changed what I thought I knew. And now that I'm an educator, I try to open my students' eyes to help them perceive the lies that we are all fed. I use poetry and hip-hop to get in their heads. We open their minds to draw the line and change the system we live in. And for that, I would like to say thank you, hip-hop. I love you. Okay, this last poem, I have to put a little disclaimer on it. This is a powerful memory, but memories are your own interpretation, so this is not fact. So if you're watching this, Mom, remember that. The day that my life changed, I mean like really changed, like kick you into junk, flip your script, world change. Started out like every other. I woke up, showered, walked to school with my two brothers. See, this Monday though, it was the kind that makes you want to hide or run away. And I had no choice. I had to stay in this place, so I tried to shake this ominous cloud of gray that was draining me of happiness and the will to fight through another day. See, trying to find an answer for the tightness in my chest was like trying to recall a dream when you wake up startled and short of breath. It was tough, man. It made me both fragile and rough, and it felt frustrating and fruitless as I went through this, but I tried in vain to keep my head up when all I could see around me were half-empty cups. Reluctantly, I went to school, and I tried to put on a facade of cool. A mask of happiness was my survival tool, but inside I felt like a fool. See, my body was in class, but my mind was escaping fast, taking my soul on a ride to the memories of a happier time. And I don't recall exactly where my mind wandered, because to escape in the safety of a daydream is time wondrously squandered. So I dreamt, and my dreams fought for me. They fought to be free of all the pain and the grief, because inside me a mighty battle raged between that ominous gray cloud and my childish dreams. My soul was trapped, caught in the middle of an epic battle. Zeus and Hera clashing in a struggle. Lightning lit the sky. When thunder crashed, I heard my own cries, and that rain I felt was tears flowing from my eyes. This was an internal battle of good versus evil. Well, see, that's what I thought. These were the images I saw when my parents fought. pain punctuated my 11-year-old heart. My love divided, loyalty ripped apart. I was mad at both from the start. And that day when I got home, the thunder reached a clamorous crescendo as my parents let their anger flow. Fear and hate electrified our house. It was enough to turn this boy into a mouse. I put my head in my hands and I tried to tune it all out. And I was scared, so I hid under the stairs. And even under there, I could feel the air crackle. And I shivered from fear and confusion and wondered, can I die from this electrocution? And at the same time, I was acutely aware of the inevitable conclusion, but I couldn't help but think, was this somehow my fault? My face burned like the scorching heat of a summer asphalt. As my mother was crying, her arm whipped forward, objects started flying, glass hit walls and exploded like glittering diamonds. Thankfully, through her anger, she was blinded and they missed their mark. But I'll tell you, it wasn't for lack of trying. See, I remember this vividly because I had stopped crying and stepped out from where I was hiding. Blood pulsated in my ears, drumming, pounding, hammering, compounding my fears. And a coffee mug smashed to pieces, and all I could see was my family. We are that shattered mug, never to be whole again. This is no fairy tale. There are no king's men to put us back together again. And in that moment, I saw the end of my family, my universe, my innocence, taken from me by the hateful words and ugly stares passed between the two people I loved the most, but at this point, they didn't care. See, that night when he left, I cried. No, I didn't just cry. I wailed. I couldn't understand how their love had failed. So I yelled, and my voice was loud with fury and uncontrolled anger that would make Bruce Banner proud. But something good came from that. From these moments of anguish and torment, my self-reliance was found. Thank you.
We're joined here this evening by the wonderful Andrew Brown. Thank you for sharing your poetry with me, The Unicorn.
Thank you for inviting me, Unicorn.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It's so good to have you here on IWC. It's really hot under these lights, so let's get to it. Okay, tell me how you got started writing.
When I started teaching.
Okay.
I started, in my practicum, I started teaching poetry, and I thought, this is really boring.
Right.
So
As one does.
I started watching some poetry slams and some spoken word poetry, and I decided we're going to do this. And to make it a little less scary for the students, I decided to write with them.
Cool.
And so the last poem you heard was the first poem I ever wrote.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Bringing it out of the vault.
Yeah, it's been a while. If
Yeah.
you notice, the pages are like torn down and there's coffee stains and tear stains on them. And
Yeah. Because who needs to use computers, right?
I don't write with computers. I never
No.
do.
And
It's always by hand
Like,
in
we
that
don't want to archive
little
it or
sketchbook that
anything.
I have.
So in 10 years, I want to see what that paper looks like.
It'll be gone.
Will it?
Probably. I'll lose it.
You'll have put it on the computer by
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Well, probably not. It'll just be gone.
Just so adamant about the computer. Back up your files, everyone, says the unicorn. We have computers where I come from.
Do you?
They're really large and they're made of clouds.
And yeah? And how do you store all of your information on those clouds?
Have you never
Or
heard
is
of
it the cloud?
iCloud? Come.
So
I
the-
was
so
setting that up, you guys.
the U cloud?
The me cloud.
No,
It's
U
just
for
me
unicorn, dude.
running through your memories. Okay,
I'm
anyways,
never
on
gonna
to
forget
the next.
that, I'll tell you.
If you were a cheese, what kind of cheese would you be?
Aged cheddar.
Aged cheddar?
Yeah, because I'm boring and getting old.
Isn't like aged cheddar kind of sharp? Like
Yeah.
it's a little like hard on
Like my
the
tongue when I'm teaching.
Are you mean to your students?
No,
I'm
I'm
so
not.
mean to my students.
Are you?
No.
I didn't.
No. Could
I mean, sometimes.
not mean to anyone ever. I'm a unicorn.
That's true.
Could Jesus microwave a burrito so hot that he himself could not eat it? It's a question.
I decline to answer this question.
Okay. Okay. The answer is no.
Damn, I failed my first test.
What animal best describes your personality? Anything.
A monkey.
A burrito.
That's-
Oh, it's not an animal. Right. Okay.
and if you leave it in the fridge too long, it could be. A monkey.
Okay. I like that. I'd be a monkey too.
But you're
No.
a unicorn. Okay, can I be a Pegasus?
What horror monster would you be? It is Halloween, maybe.
Ooh.
Who knows when this will air?
Jason. Die, 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 die. Kill, 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 kill. Die, 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 die.
Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles all day.
Yeah, and then the follow-up question to this is gluten or no gluten? It's a serious question.
I don't care.
Vegan or not vegan?
Not.
Oh.
Sorry, vegans.
Boo, uh-oh. Protest going on in the crowd. Okay, this one is like a test. And I know you really like tests. I got that from that one poem you did.
Right? Yeah.
About how
Okay, I'm glad that that came across.
That's your like
Yes,
pedagogical
that's
approach. to
Exactly. That's how I
teaching
teach.
is
Everything is I'm going to test
mainly
you on this.
through testing.
Yeah.
Good. Can you recite the alphabet backwards?
Probably not.
Yeah, me neither. What's the alphabet, right? I'm a unicorn. My head keeps falling off. I'm losing my mind. Hey-o! What is your favorite song and why?
Oh man, that is a tough question. Can I have a tie?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Rancid. Probably Time Bomb because I listened to it about 80,000 times in high school.
Right.
And I would say Blue Scholars, Yuri Kochiyama.
I totally know
As
that
well.
one. So good. I love that one.
You're a really terrible liar.
What's your favorite smell that isn't food related?
My
Can't
kids.
handle that question.
That's not food related? My kids when
That's
they're not
not
farting.
food related. Yeah, you know what? The last person that answered that question said babies as well.
Like, seriously, baby
Yeah.
huffing is addictive.
Okay, there's so many things to say. If you had a pet sloth, what would you name it?
Sparky.
Sparky the sloth. Okay, this question's really disturbing, but somebody wrote it down in my book, so I feel obliged to say it. How many fillings do you have? See, somebody thinks it's funny.
4.
4? I'm not going to answer how many I have. It's embarrassing. I like sugar.
Who doesn't, right?
Unicorns love sugar.
They
That's
do.
what we survive off of.
Exactly. That's where we get the sparkles.
Yeah, totally. If you woke up tomorrow with superpowers, what superpowers would you have?
I've always wanted to fly. Not gonna lie.
Just so you could be above everybody else?
No.
Oh.
Nope. Just wanted to fly.
Yeah.
Being invisible would be pretty cool for
Yeah.
like 10 minutes. And then you'd be like, I'm so alone.
Yeah, totally. I would love
Flying for sure.
being invisible would be fantastic for me. I would cause so much trouble.
I know, right? I actually asked that. I had a writing prompt today for my grade 9s, and I said, if you woke up invisible one day, what would you do? Their first responses were, are my parents going to see this?
Right. Yes. That's
I said no, and I can't wait to read the responses
still
now.
my response, and I have children. So that's good.
Fair enough.
It says what kind of parent I am. Okay, can we find more of you anywhere in particular, Andrew Brown? Our YouTube channel, there's some videos, I think, of you.
Yeah, I have my own YouTube channel
Sweet.
and SoundCloud. I
Okay.
put my music and poetry on there.
And what is your YouTube channel? Just Andrew Brown?
I actually don't know.
Okay, we'll
Maybe
get that
Unicorn
and
versus
provide
Pegasus?
the link.
It might be
versus-
Pegasus
Really?
versus Unicorn or Unicorn versus Pegasus.
Is this a joke?
No, my
Oh
arm
my
is
goodness.
a tattooed unicorn Pegasus.
Amazing.
Like
It's
you,
me.
you knew.
Yeah,
You knew.
I did.
It's a shared moment.
I know. Telepathy is my
That's right.
superpower.
Yeah. And SoundCloud is Piratical Mr. Brown.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Let's give a big round of applause for Andrew Brown. You can find more of us at inspiredwordcafe.com and on YouTube, Inspired Word Cafe. You can find me frolicking through your cloud memories. Okay, that's it. Have a good night, you guys.